time I tried to find someone to take a place, it was all in vain. Know that this one never quite the same. No, baby, when I was kissing someone new, deep inside I was missing you. I tried to find someone to take a place, it was all in vain. Know that this one never quite the same. No, baby, when I was kissing someone new, deep inside I was missing you. I tried to find someone to take a place, it was all in vain. Know that this one never quite the same. No, baby, when I was kissing and that's so nice. Broken my heart and honey, I hope to die. 'Cause I'm not trying to mislead you. Believe me, girl, I really need love. Why'd you take so long to come to me? Oh, baby. And love, your love. Tell me where you hiding from me all the time. Each time I tried to find someone to take a place, it was all in vain. Know that this one never quite the same. No, baby, when I was kissing someone new, deep inside I was missing you.
Check this out.
Wasting my time with you, but I like it too. I'm wasting away, it's true, but I like wasting time with you.
Hey, yo!
Give me silence, watching time ticking back at me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I said, hey, yo! Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. How we frickin' doing today? I'm your friendly host, caltran2410. It is an absolute pleasure to see you. Hopefully everybody's having a phenomenal weekend. Welcome on into the band fam, because I'm your friendly neighborhood drummer. I've been drumming since I was 5 years old. That is now, crazy enough, 28 years of being a musician. Isn't that kind of wild? How's everybody doing, though? How are you guys doing? Hopefully everybody's having a phenomenal Saturday evening, a phenomenal weekend. The new Call of Duty is out, chat. The new Call of Duty is doing great. I am super, super excited to be able to bring to you guys what we have in store for tonight. I have an incredible lineup of people. What up, COD Ghost Team? I haven't seen you in a quick minute, homie. I hope you're doing amazing. I actually forgot that I had those sound alerts live, which is totally fine. Like, we are more than welcome to have them. I personally can't hear them, but tonight we have a very incredible episode of the PSP Podcast where I'm going to be bringing in some industry professional photographers to be able to talk to you a little bit about their craft. This is something that a lot of people are going to be honestly very curious about, because as I've said, chat, the world of content is a vast place. There are so many different styles and tiers of content out there. There are so many different variations and like stuff like that. I'm doing absolutely great, man. I'm doing fantastic. I'm just double checking a couple things here. But no, I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. Hopefully you are doing phenomenal as well and having a great Saturday evening. I'm going to be getting back to the Call of Duty streams very shortly. Not today, but tomorrow. Tomorrow we have one planned with Stratify. It's going to be really cool and really fun. But today we're going to have a podcast. Oh, dude, tons and tons of content. You have no idea what's in store. Lots of great things going on. Lots of cool things going on. Lots of streams in the books. Super excited to be able to bring to what we have tonight with you. I love that drop. Every time I listen to these guys, over there, sorry. Every time I listen to them, I forgot I have my camera flipped. But so I'll just be like pointing everywhere. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I say we get this podcast underway. I say we get this thing noted, and I'm very excited to bring the PSP podcast today with you. So ladies and gentlemen, let's roll it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in to the PSP Podcast, featuring your friendly host, caltran2410, where PSP stands for Perk Spreads Positivity, where we educate.
The 3 E's, right? You can educate, you can entertain, you can be empathetic.
Have you encountered any gender-related obstacles or biases while building your career in content creation?
I would say the cyber stalking.
By bringing in the best of the best. You still do that, so let's not discount that. So what really made you go into streaming? What was that decision? What was that move that made you, Nick, as I'm very sorry, I know I'm teasing you, but it's literally, it's one of those things that we can do, post everywhere, post often, and do it your own way. And have fun. And have fun and be yourself.
Fine. Have fun, honestly. Like that, I love that so much because it's so true. Like, if you like the content you're making, like if you're watching it and you like it, you're not the only person.
From fitness to establish a new habit or a routine, what is your message to them?
Start with less than you think you need.
Too fitting. Would love to get some tips and tricks of the trade on like how you kind of do things in the cosplay field.
Yeah, I'd love to go into that, especially because like I've done a little bit of everything, right? So I've made some costumes, I've bought some costumes, I have my friends' old costumes, I've commissioned costumes, I like craft all kinds of things, but also I wear things. Like there's a whole smorgasbord if I do a little bit of everything when it comes to cosplay.
To VTubing and animation, this is something that I may want to get into. How should they start?
Ooh, I think everyone should start on YouTube. I think YouTube is going to be your best place for launching
metrics that creators should be paying attention to, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think, and like specifically with like VTubing, I think it's, I think all of that is like kind of like the difficulty level is like bumped up to like expert.
And our goal at the PSP Podcast is to educate and inspire aspiring creators. And we are super excited for this week's episode, and we can't wait to see you there. So let's have a freaking party. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on into tonight's episode of the PSP Podcast, where I'm your friendly host, caltran2410, and as always, Perk Spreads Positivity. That's what the PSP stands for. And today, we are breaking down some of the real stories, the real skill sets, the mindsets behind some truly inspiring creators. And as you guys know, the PSP Podcast, we bring in different guests every week, right? We talk to them, we get to know them, we learn a little bit about content, but there is this style of content that you guys may not be aware of. And that's photography. Whether you know it or not, photography is an integral content piece in the content scene. And a lot of creators love to have photographers to be able to help them out, to be able to help give them headshots, to be able to make them look good, to be able to capture them in the moment. And it goes beyond that. We do these things, we do artwork, we do vivid stuff within Canva, and we need the photographers. We need these people. And today I'm bringing in some of the best of the best within the industry. We're bringing in some industry professionals, and I would love to introduce to you 3 photographers in the industry we're going to be talking to. He is Carbon, shaunietv, and Caltran, captured by Cal T. How are you guys doing? Welcome on into the PSP Podcast. Carbon's disappeared.
I'm doing great. What about yourself, Perk?
I'm doing well, Shawnee. It's great to see you. And Cal, how we doing today, homie?
Doing great as well, though calling me an industry professional is probably a very, very strong stretch of the word.
Oh, no. So yesterday we had an incredible creator pop onto the PSP Podcast, and they said a very important note. Don't ever sell yourself short there, Mr. Cal T, because we know what you do, and you do things well, and you're really awesome at it. Well, it is my pleasure to welcome you guys into the PSP Podcast today. And why don't we tell you the crew a little bit about yourself for the people that don't know you. Shawnee, why don't we start with you, homie?
Oh, great. Okay. I'm a 19-year-old photographer, social media manager, editor. I pretty much do everything under the sun. Recently got into photography this year, though. Did I already say how old I was? I'm not good at this. Yeah, I'm 19. I've been doing this stuff for about over a year now. I started around last year, around July, September, around that time. So I've been in the industry about a year. I've worked with some big creators. I've worked at FaZe. I've worked with Aiden Ross, Duke Dennis. I've worked with some big people.
Hell yeah.
So I know my way around. Not professional like Carbon and Caltran here, though.
Well, it's wonderful to meet you. Welcome on into the PSP Podcast. It's a pleasure to have you. And I know us and a bunch of the creators out here are excited to learn a little bit more about your guys' craft. Cal, why don't we talk to you a little bit? Welcome on in. Why don't we tell a little bit of the creators about yourself? And how are you today?
Thanks again for having me. Yeah, I'm Cal. I'm 31 years old. I've been doing photography on and off since like 2010, give or take, but I really picked it up heavily back in like 2018, and then I'd say I'd really only been doing like convention photography for the past 2 years, give or take. None of it professionally. I have 0 professional training in photography or any of that. It's all just self-shot, take it, try it out, try something different.
Yes, but in what's really awesome about your work, and I see your work a lot, Cal, like you post some really amazing shots. You capture some of the best in people from a visual perspective, and honestly, like that's really cool. For me, I could never do photography. The best thing that I could do is a selfie, and I fail at that. So I don't even know the basics of it. Like when I work professionally, and I run a podcast, we have other people that do all the photography part, whether it be from a video perspective, whether it be from an editing perspective. So we don't really know. So one of the fallacies behind, and when Carbon gets in, I'll introduce you all to him. Carbon is an amazing human being. Make sure when he gets in, I need everybody in chat to spam chicken coochie. He'll never know. But it's an inside joke. Trust me. So one of the fallacies about photography is people think that anybody can just do it by just taking a photo. What are your guys' thoughts about that? Do you think that's an accurate assumption, or what do you guys want to say in regards to that?
I'd say yes and no. Like, yeah, you can just pick it up, point and shoot, and then that's partially it, and eventually you'll just get there at some point, but it's more of a practice thing than it is like a talent thing than people would imagine.
Sure. So do you think when... Oh, I'll let you go ahead, Shawnee. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, I'll bounce off what he said. I think it is very, at a base level, it is. You could pick up a camera, shoot it, you're a photographer, but there's lots of levels to it, like learning certain things about, like, a lot of people don't know, like, if you increase your ISO, your gain's going to get higher, what shutter speed does, what aperture does. And the hardest part is learning how to edit in Lightroom or whatever people use. That's where you really get into it. I recently got into that a couple months ago, and that's a whole new ball field. I thought I was a good photographer until I started learning how to edit. And I really think that editing, that's like where you really get into it and you really try to understand what taking a good photo is so you don't underexpose or overexpose your image and then you have to fix it in post, which you can obviously do that. And I've took some terrible pictures that came out good in editing, but that's the main thing. I think a lot of people, when they're getting into photography, is the hardest thing to understand is the editing aspect because it is grueling. If you ever put 10,000 photos onto your PC and you don't know where to start, it's rough the first time, but you get used to it and there's a lot of great tools now in Lightroom where you can cull through photos pretty fast and apply LUTs. But at a base level, learning how to understand and learning how to edit first before buying people's LUTs and just slapping it on your photos, because just slapping a LUT on every photo doesn't work, in my opinion.
True.
Maybe they have different opinions, but in my opinion, every photo that you love, you could definitely mess with learning how to edit. And it took me forever to even get okay at it. I wouldn't even say I'm good. I'm okay. And there's probably people, I mean, Carbon and Caltran take great photos. And I still think that they're levels below other people when it comes to editing. Like there's always levels to it.
Well, I mean, and that goes with everything that you do. And like even in streaming, there's levels to everything. There are people who have been around the industry for 10 years and have not seen the same growth as other people. But I mean, like one of the things that we talked about yesterday is the comparison aspect, where we can't necessarily compare apples to apples because we're all oranges. Some of us might be grapes, some of us might be different things, you know? And like what you guys do, you guys kind of know your way. Well, kind of is an understatement. You guys know your way in and around the camera in like the editing process. You guys kill it, like with everything that you do. And Carbon, welcome on in, homie. How are we doing? I was actually going through some of the introductions with everybody in the line, people to introduce yourself. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody who may or may not know who you are?
Hello. Hi. Sorry about that, y'all. I have dogs, so you know, you know how that is and everything.
Hey, that is totally valid. It's totally okay.
Hey, I appreciate it. All right. So
Yeah, no
first of all,
problem.
thank you so much for having me on the podcast and everything, and also wonderful gentlemen here and everything. Grateful to be you guys' presence, and honestly, I'm grateful to be here. My name is Aaron, but I go by Carbon, as you know, and everything. I am a industry photographer, if you will, and I've been doing this relatively on and off, if you will, from a professional level for about 10 years now at this point. Just really getting back into it with our current industry when it comes to overall content creations and esports and overall different types of anime style slash e-gaming esports conventions as well, so which I've been shooting for the past like year and a half so as well. Yeah, that was pretty much like kind of just my spiel, if you will, and everything. So grateful to be here. Let's get this done, let's get some knowledge out there, let's have a good time. So
Absolutely. And one of the questions that we actually started with and did a quick little roundtable here was a lot of people think that the camera is just something, photography is something that people just pick up a phone and just take a photo. What do you think that's a logical statement, or you think there's like, and I know like the consensus here is there's a little bit more to it. What are your thought on that one?
so I think the real question is like, you know, how are we to determine who's a photographer or not, right? So at the core baseline of it, what does photography mean to me, if you will, and how do I personally translate what photography is? Honestly, it's an individual who has the passion to capture the moments that they experience in life, whether it's through this or through like something like this hunking thing right there, whether it's like through any device and everything and all and everything. As long as you're capturing the image and you are representing through that image basically how you feel inside, and as long as that image represents basically how you feel inside and everything, and as long as you basically share it, I think that in itself basically is photography and makes you a photographer. Now people like to say, is are you a professional photographer? You know, a lot of people associate basically, you know, having invoices filled out based off of basically that sort of like moniker and everything, right? But I digress. Everyone has a different sort of mindset when it comes to that. But I think overall, when it comes to that, like the answer to that question for me personally, I think it's more so like, you know, what's a photographer to an individual, and that's what I view as a photographer. So when it comes to that, so
Yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
simple.
That's
Yeah.
a really amazing point there because like when I kind of correlate that to streaming. Like people have that like fine line where it's like, what do you think the line is between a professional streamer versus somebody who's just doing it as a hobby? And like,
Correct.
so it's kind of like what you make of it. Like if you view yourself as a professional streamer, then you're a professional streamer. If you view yourself as a professional photographer, then you're a professional photographer. You can't sell yourself short. You got to keep yourself open and out there. And like one of the things that's really cool about content in is it's anything that you can consume. And I love throwing photography into that umbrella because photos are content. It's something that you guys can consume. And you want to talk a little bit about what you guys may want to do that allow your photos to be consumed in the right way? Who'd like to start with that one?
That's a good question. So I'll start out with that. So for me personally, I'm a very patient person when it comes to just overall. At the end of the day, though, actually, I think that COD Ghost Team. There you go. Actually, honestly, I think COD Ghost Team actually had a really, really, really good point regarding this particular question. I think it was ties in together and everything's like, okay, so
Sure.
what's the main focus and then what's the actual foundation? Like, why did I even start doing this and everything? And then from there, how can I deliver my message, my art to the masses, if you will, and everything, right? And why should I do that? There's a lot of different questions when it comes to that, but I think it kind of boils down to this is one answer, just to answer your question directly, is like, how do I personally do it? I'm a very slow, methodical person. I really, um, I personally don't post much, but a lot of my posts are very impactful. My deliverables in itself basically is just something that I rely on in terms of just not just from the physical overall like social media slash like present element, but rather the word of mouth. People talk. A lot of people talk in this industry, right?
Yes,
And
they
so
do.
how I personally deliver it is like, yeah, like, like I show my work out in the public eye, but if I show up physically to these places, shake hands, that in itself, my presence and how I carry myself and how I introduce myself and how I present the work in conjunction with that, it's all in one package, baby. So therefore, at that point, it's like you're not just like getting in such. I'm not just some random stranger on the internet who basically takes photos and sends the things out and everything, right? People can basically recognize my work and see what I do because it's not just basically like, oh, that's Carbon's work, but like, oh, I put a name in a face with a picture, right? And through that, it's basically just simply posting for me personally, like maybe like once a month, once a couple of months and everything, throwing some reels and everything as well. But a lot of the work that I do to showcase my artwork and everything, right, is through my portfolio and also discussing and having conversations with individuals in the back end as well, whether it's in person or virtually or a mixture of both, which is much more effective.
And that's
So there you go.
amazing. No, I love that answer. So Shawnee, would you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, can you ask the question one more time?
So the question actually was, essentially we're gonna kind of go with what Cod Ghost Team's question is. What made you pretty much decide to go into photography? Essentially, is what it was, and
Okay.
what makes your content like stand out?
Okay. I got into photography because I didn't start out in photography. I started out cameraman and videography. But I realized because I took one picture on my iPhone and it kind of opened a lot of doors for me. I took a picture of XQC and FaZe Banks and they both posted on their story, got me a big influx of followers. And it made me realize that when you're taking photos, you're not just taking a photo, you're capturing a memory. And that was like one thing for me that like when I go to these events, I'm like, I don't have any memories to show for this. But the picture captures I think a memory and it captures a message at the same time. Like it's like an art form. Like I don't view photography as taking a photo. I view it as like it's like painting a picture, really. Like it's like being an artist and painting a picture. There's a lot that goes into it, and everyone has a unique style. I mean, I think all three of us have different styles than each other, and that's what makes photography great. Everyone can stand out, and you can do it with any piece of gear. It doesn't matter. Carbon actually, I'll throw this to him because he said a good point when I was talking about changing cameras. He said you don't need to change the camera. You just need to sharpen your skill set, and that opened up a lot for me. And I was gonna throw probably what was I? I was looking at like a $5,000 camera, and I was talking to Carbon. He's like, no, just get a different lens and learn how to use it better. And that really opens a lot for me because photography, I've really found it as a passion lately because I started out cameramanning for streamers and like doing videography, but it just didn't like fill that gap for me. Like, but photography and being able to capture the moment. I was in not yeah, I was in Stockholm last week at the Grand Major for the finals, and just looking at the emotion of the players in the pictures I took when they won the $100,000 major, and looking back on those, it just like gives me a fulfillment when I take a great picture like that, and I can put it on my page and put it on my portfolio. And it's not really about showing it off for me, but I just like like being able to capture emotion of people and like looking back on it and like you can tell what was happening in the photo without any context. Like I just love that about photography because it just I mean it's like a video. Like it's not a video, but it's like a video. You can look at a picture and tell the emotion and see what's happening in it and you can feel good about it.
That's an amazing way to think about it, because like you're right. You are creating a picture. You're creating a full memory with everything that you guys are doing. You guys are really pulling things out there. Caltrain, what about you? What made you want to go into photography, and what makes your content literally stand out?
So it's kind of hard for me to track what specifically made me go into like photography as a whole. I know that like my dad had an old Nikon that like when I was a kid I would play around with and take to like family weddings and all that jazz. And then back in 2010, I was on my high school robotics.
Looks like you cut out just a little bit there, Cal.
Oh, I
Hopefully
thought
we
that
get
was
you
me.
back in a moment. No, you're totally fine. You cut out just a moment there, homie. Just wanted to check back in.
Hello.
Yeah, we got you back. Here we go. I'm sorry, I
Alright,
apologize for that,
so
but I will let you continue.
no problem. So then in 2010, I was a freshman on my robotics team, and we had like a empty media team, and so I got a new camera for Christmas then. It was a Nikon D5000, and I did pictures and video for the team. And then I did that on and off. And then in like 2018, I finally had some spare cash, and I put that towards a Nikon Z6 II. And that was also when I started going to conventions. And honestly, when I started taking my camera to a convention, it was kind of like a field of sorts that my introverted self could take along with me, and that was like my little barrier between people and myself. I didn't have to necessarily interact with people. I could just present myself with a camera, and I didn't have to talk. I could just follow along and take pictures of people and things.
Yeah,
And
but
then that's where it grew from there.
in the stuff that you guys, like I said, I mean this like with all of you, the stuff that you guys put forward is amazing. And I know both all of you guys, you mentioned different styles of photography. And Cal, you mentioned that you use a Nikon. So what tools do you guys do to be able to allow yourself to get the finished product? Let's start a little bit here, kind of like from start to finish. What makes you even want to take a specific photo? What do you guys look for? So who wants to start with that one?
I'd
All
say
right.
my preferred style is definitely candids in a non-ironic way, because I don't enjoy posing people, and I have very little experience doing that, and I have the brain of a goldfish and cannot keep more than like 3 poses in my head at a time. So, but I love taking candids just because it's easy to be like a fly on the wall. I and it, like as everyone else touched on, it's capturing that moment, the like capturing the feeling that happens just right then that most people won't necessarily be able to see later on down the line.
That's awesome. And like, because I love that you bring up the candid photo aspect here, because like a lot of people think that like you just make everybody pose in a specific manner. Now there are poses that like we can allow people to do, or that we can put people in to be able to make things work, but like the candid aspect of taking a photograph just really brings out the life at its finest, and I think that is such a cool thing and mentality to have. What about you, Shawnee? You want to touch on that one?
Yeah, I actually like what he said about candid photos because for me, I mainly do event photography. So I went to DreamHack and I was obviously shooting a lot of the players at the major. And candids are usually my favorite because a lot of it is the emotion of it. Like if you someone's looking at a camera, like I have this picture pulled up that I just showed Carbon before we started. This was right after I don't know if it'll focus. This is right after the major, and he is screaming, and he doesn't even know I'm there taking a photo. It's like you people will notice the camera, but you have to tell them to be invisible. Like pretend I'm invisible and I'm not here, because it captures it way more than if someone was like trying to like in that picture, if he was looking right at me and trying to like show that much excitement, it wouldn't work the same as if I was just there and I caught the moment perfectly. And I definitely think that like even when because I do a lot of photography for my fiance who's a creator, I tell her don't look at the camera. You ruin the photo. If you look directly at the camera, there's some times where you can look at the camera and smile, but it's more about capturing the moment than trying to pose someone, especially for me. I know people who do portraits. I don't think I could ever get into that just because it doesn't fulfill me. I like showing off emotion. I like showing what people are doing. And candid is just the best way for me to do that. Like pretend I'm invisible. I actually have a shirt that I have that says I'm invisible with a camera on it, and it's amazing.
I love that so much because like what's really interesting about the candid photo aspect is like for me, if I look at a camera, if I see someone taking a photo of me, I'll immediately cringe. And the reason why I cringe is because I believe I'm not photogenic. And I'll be like, oh no, now I'm being a photo. What did I do wrong? I'll immediately turn around like that. But the candid photo aspect is such a beautiful thing because you really capture the moment. And sometimes people don't even realize what you even capture. Carbon, would you like to touch on that subject as a little bit?
I sure can. So I definitely agree with you, gentlemen, exactly regarding the notion when it comes to capturing those moments and remaining unseen. Because at the end of the day, though, when it comes to like my personal style, my bread and butter, that is very much that. However, I will also add, if you will, that I personally like the roots basically from that mindset and that sort of style that I depict when it comes to my photos and everything, my editing style and how I do a lot of my composition is from street photography. Just physically getting out there, taking photos basically of just like different landscapes, architecture, spaces, and everything. Right. At times, from a privacy standpoint, because I want to make sure that I be above reproach, take pictures of like individuals and then walk up to them like, "Hey, I took this of you," and usually 9 times out of 10, they're like, "Whoa, send that to me," and everything. Right. And so there's sort of like the catch-22, basically, where I think Cal, you stated the fact that basically like just like make sure that you're they're there, you're taking the pictures, you're capturing the moments and everything, and you basically like sort of like slipping through like a wormhole, right? Same thing basically with Shawnee, basically the fact that like you want to make sure that no one notices these guys. Where for me, it's a mix of a hybrid, if you will, right? It's like if this person's rocking, I'm gonna let them know what's up. I'm like, yo, this is like, yo, this looks fire and everything. How can I send this to you? How can blah 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 and everything, right? And I basically want to make sure the fact that basically they know and are acknowledge the fact that basically that they look fantastic within that moment and that there is something special with them and they had a special moment of that moment. They have a special basically capture of that moment regarding basically like the whole situation regarding basically what I took whatever picture I took of them. Also when it comes to portraitures personally for me, um that just me being very out and open because people think that like me being an event photographer basically is that like I'm just kind of sitting in the back, as you gentlemen know, and it's not the case. I mean, they're in the paint, I'm everywhere, basically talking to people, interviewing people and everything, right? And so almost as engaged forward as my clients and everything, right? Because there's also an element basically, so like where I love portrait work. I really do love portrait work. I love posing. I love doing basically all that stuff in it, right? But it's also something I've done for X amount of time, and I'm also basically very comfortable with and everything because of just of my just personality and my style and everything, right? So whenever I do event photography, it's a bit of a mixture of basically kind of just staying back and letting nature and letting life do its thing, aka the street photography, whereas I'm in there in the paint doing the work, positioning things basically and kind of being very upfront and forward with photography with portraiture. So sort of like a hybrid shooter in that sense and everything. Aside from the actual literal sense of basically videography, photography, I'm mostly leaning towards photography. But that's basically like my essentially 2 cents regarding that. And it's sort of my style and what I've adapted and what I'll continue to push forward and everything when it comes to my work.
So, what do you guys say to your clients when they tell you they're not photogenic? This is a goofy question. I haven't actually added this one for you. So, what do you guys say to your clients that tell you, you know what, I don't want a photo. I ain't photogenic. Don't take a photo of me.
Respect their wishes, respect their boundaries. But if you're a client, there's a reason why you hired me. So guess what? You're gonna have your picture taken regardless, and it's gonna look great. Just trust. Basically, what I tell my clients is this: like, you trusted me enough to, at the very least, depending on the type of client, you've signed a contract out, right? So let me do my work. You're gonna look amazing. You already look amazing right now. I basically, essentially, I try to do the best I can to assure them the fact that they're not going to be on some goofy stuff whenever my work is basically like done, if you will, right? Because there is a reason why they hired me. There's a reason why I hired Shawnee. Reason why they hired Cal. There's a reason why that is happened. There's a relationship right there. So guess what? It's gonna get done. Just trust us, and that's why I try to reiterate to my clients. Just trust me. Let me cook. I got you.
Johnny, Cal, you have anything to add to any clients that say they're not photogenic?
I don't think I've ever had that happen because I've barely done a vet. I've never got hired one-on-one for portraits, but if someone says that, I mean, you just gotta crack the ice. You gotta make them laugh. Like usually, if you're taking pictures of someone, tell them a joke. They'll crack a smile. You'll be fine. It's hard to artificially make someone smile
True.
because even Carbon has done this with me, and he's made himself take pictures of me when I'm like, no, 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 I don't look good. He just cracked a joke, be like, nah, you're sexy, and then snaps a picture that worked every time. It's actually my profile picture on everywhere right now.
And that is a damn good photo. I'm not even gonna lie. What about you, Cal? What do you tell your clients when they're not photogenic, or they say they're not photogenic?
Same with Johnny. I can't say I've ever actually had any clients per se, but just mostly I'll find some way to get a candid view somehow, and that's about it.
I got you. So, for those creators who want to get into photography and they feel intimidated by all these like perfect professional photos they see online, what's that mindset that you wish most beginning content or photographers or beginning photography creators had? What do you guys think?
I could tell you right now. This is what I tell everyone within, whether it's the photography business, it just content creation, just overall, even like it just me doing this. I do this off to the side and everything. It's a side business and everything as well. Hopefully, it's going to be my primary business and everything, right? Precursor, as you know, and everything, right? And these gentlemen know I work in cybersecurity and everything, right? And I see this all across the board, where there's basically from like a suit cubicle type of environment that I'm in and everything, or where basically it's running gun and everything, content creation. The one thing I tell people whether they're new, whether they're experienced or what have you, right, is that it is good to observe other people's work, but it's horrible to compare. Okay.
Yes.
The I think it was like Theodore Roosevelt said this. He said that comparison is the theft of joy. Please, for the love of God, when people compare, especially down to like the very like minute details and everything, their work versus others and everything, that's where you lost the sauce. That's where you lost the plot. That's where basically the reason, the rationale as to why you're doing the damn thing in the first place starts to slip through the cracks and everything. And then you get off the path of basically trying to figure out who you are within basically your work, what you want to do, and what your game plan is and how you want to proceed. So noticing someone else's work, all professional, done up, perfect lighting and everything, amazing edits and everything, the craziest like tools you could ever possibly know and everything. Like looking at that, I'd be like, that for me, it's like, yeah, that's cool and all. However, is it me? Is it something I want to pursue? Is it my personal goals and everything? And for the most part, no, not at all. So, and I know this and everything. So whenever I see all these different photos and everything, right, I feel inspired to try to push forward my own unique creativity in terms of basically utilizing the tools that I currently have. So when it comes to beginners, though, overall, like I always encourage beginners, like, yo, you look but don't touch. Please don't compare yourself to these people, because a lot of these people have industry experiences. They have like tens of thousands of dollars worth of camera gear and all stuff in it, right? They've been doing this stuff for like 5, 10, 20 years and everything, right? It's like, yo, enjoy your journey. Don't compare yourself to others and everything. Observe, learn from them, but take your freaking time. Enjoy the journey.
I couldn't agree more, because I want to say that like that's how the mindset that we have as content creators as well. It's like, for example, I can't compare myself to Tim the Tatman. I just can't. If I do, I'm gonna get depressed, because like it's all a work in progress. Everything that we do as content creators is within our own brand, and everything that you guys do as photographers is within your own brand. And like I couldn't agree with that more, because it's a huge thing for the world of content, whether it be photography, streaming, content creation, musicianship. Like, you're never going to be the Rolling Stones. However, you can take some things that the Stones did and turn that into your own content. And that is the beauty of like of art in general. So, Cal,
The other thing a lot of people are forgetting, or tend to forget, is that what you're seeing people post or repost is, it's all highlight reel. I'm never going to post like a picture that I don't necessarily like, but like all my pictures are usually ones that I actually enjoy and I want other people to see. So I can show you terabytes worth of pictures that have never made it out of my editing software.
And I think people forget that like there is a whole editing process for each individual photo, just like there's an editing process for each one of our photos, just like there is a practice that makes perfect for each podcast that I put on. Like, I'm not an expert at switching scenes. I'm not an expert at capturing the right point. But you know what? I learned from experience, and throughout 3 years of making a podcast, I've been able to use visual tunes and like see people's eyes light up to be able to catch that scene swap when I need to. Um, but like, I agree. Like, it's a huge thing in regards to that type of stuff. It's like everything is so much in the open. Shawnee, what do you think about that?
I used to actually struggle with this until me and Carbon had one long talk one night, and I remember because the advice he just gave was pretty much the same advice he gave me. Because he was showing me a photo, and I was like, "Dang, I wish my photos looked like that." He said, "This is the best photo I've ever taken. This isn't every photo." I mean, between me and Carbon, we took probably 20,000 photos at DreamHack. I think I probably sent out 300, if that, maybe less. I put
Mm-hmm.
20 on my portfolio. Like, you only see people's best work. You don't see, like, I have terabytes of footage. I mean, footage, photos, everything that will never see the light of day. Half of them got deleted. I formatted those SD cards, got rid of it. Don't even want to see it anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
you only see people's best work. And the thing about photography, it's so unique. It's not like video where there's a correct way to do everything, pretty much. I mean, if you want to be a content creator, there is a correct way, in theory, to do it. Photography, there are some people that would think maybe Carbon's photos look terrible, but mine look good, and vice versa. Like, it is a you have I'm trying to think how to word this. There's different ways to make photography look good. Like, there's a lot of people that they like warm photos or they like cold photos. It's not for everybody. They each people have their own style, and that's what makes people unique. Because not everyone's photo. Me and Carbon could point at the exact same subject, and our photo would look totally different because we edit different. We have different lenses. Everything that you do as a photographer can be completely different than someone else who's shooting right next to you. Because photography, people hire you because you're unique and they like how you take photos and how you edit photos. And I think that is really like one thing I had to wrap my head around, that Carbon helped me because we had some long talks when, because I've only started photography probably 6 months ago, if that. Like, I bought my camera, I was doing mainly video, and I think DreamHack Atlanta was my first time actually shooting, like actually shooting an event. And I learned a lot just from being around Carbon, talking to other photographers, getting his opinion. Like, hey, what do you think about this photo? I still do it to this day. If I take a photo, I'm like, hey, Carbon, what do you think about the shadows in this photo? And he can vouch. I send him some photos, and he's like, oh, do this, do this. This might look better. This might not. And it's just that collective talk of having a good group of people who are in the same space, who can understand you and help you as a beginner. Because Carp's got 10 years of experience on me, but he says I take some damn good photos. And it's just a learning curve. Like, you just have to learn. And photography is not linear. Like, it's not just like this, you learn like this. It's ups and downs. Like, you'll 1 month I'll learn a lot. Next month I'm not doing anything. I'm not taking photos. And that was one habit I had to do, take my camera everywhere. You might see a building that looks cool. You might see a landscape that, I mean, one of my favorite photos I ever took was just me taking my camera out on a morning run. I literally sent Carbon a video and I was like, hey, Carbon, look at this sunset. I'm about to go take a picture of this. This is dope. And that, to tie it back to what you were saying, photography is so unique. Like, it's so special, and everyone's art is different than everyone else's. Like, we're not going to compare, you wouldn't compare Da Vinci and Picasso. No, it's two different people, two different styles of art. It's the same thing with photography. You can't compare yourself because your photos and your style makes you unique. You're like, I can't go shoot like Carbon and then I'm copying his whole style. I don't have my own style. I won't feel as fulfilled when I take a photo to try to make it look as good as his.
But that goes with everything too. And the world of content, and I put photos, like the photography, into the world of content because it's something that you can consume. I'm going to say that over and over throughout today's episode. But it goes in the world of content. There are so many revisions that you guys, the public, don't see. If I'm not happy with my product, with my video, I'm not going to post it. And it's the first, it goes back to like the first video that I've ever posted, right? Or the first piece of content that I've ever posted. It was a 420p video of me on Rebirth Island and seeing a glitch where it glitched into two people because Call of Duty is one of those weird games. And it was it had a sound effect of Naruto and said Kage Benshi no Jutsu of this guy running down the stairs, killing me, and then splitting into two people. So, but it was 420p. But I thought it was funny for myself because it was a glitch in the game that split him into two people. Like, do you guys want to talk about the first piece of content that you guys put out versus where you were at now? I love the
Cal,
faces
Cal,
of
you wanna take
everyone.
this?
Like,
No, I can see Cal. He looking at it. Look at it.
go for it, Cal. Go for it. It's funny because like the first piece of content that I put out versus what I'm putting out today is such a completely different avenue of content. And as I learned about how OBS works, or as I learned about how to properly use DaVinci Resolve and edit something in 4K, everything kind of changes. The more you learn your editing tools, just like in photography, the more you learn your editing tools, the more prominent you're going to get, the more things you're going to learn. Now I'm learning about LUTs. Now I'm learning about like different transition footages. Now I'm learning about different pieces and aspects to be able to put into my specific videos. And before I was like, I'm going to clip this from start to finish and it's going to look good. Post. But not always, because Call of Duty is a different gameplay and we're no longer just looking for that one little trick shot. We're looking for a full story. So I know, Cal, you're looking for that photo, right?
So I think that's probably one of the first.
Oh, your screen is blurred, I think. Yeah, there you go.
So that's one of the first ones that I posted, and it's just like super saturated, not quite my style anymore, but it was like the vibrancy and saturation were like turned to 100 on that picture, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. It's so cool to see. At one point, I think, you know what? We should link those in my Discord so I can have people pop into the Discord and take a look. Because I feel like that could be a cool thing. And I could probably do a little screen here where I go into, I think it's like my in-game scene where I can pull up that Discord, or that image inside of Discord.
I can pull.
Or if you throw it in that group chat, I'll pull it up.
I can pull it up in my virtual cam as well.
Oh, oh yeah, that's right. You have the virtual cam thing. Because you guys do all this cool stuff.
Let me see.
But that's the beauty of the world of content, is we learn different ways of doing cool different things. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, my style used to be like that, just like kind of darker, super saturated. Like you can tell like her arm is not that color, not supposed to be that color. But then you can tell by like ages and colors because they're all like the same style, and then it goes on and I get different colors. I get a lot cooler tones. I use less saturation.
That's so cool. You have some really awesome photos of like some incredible content creators. And it's just so cool to see like the evolution of people's photography mindset. Does anyone else want to show one of their first photos? I know you guys are probably all looking, because I know I kind of caught you guys off guard with this one.
Oh, this is a great question. This is a fantastic question. I'm trying to look through here.
I have mine.
Now
I took it on my iPhone.
Carbon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Something popped up in the
there. Shawnee. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna drop it in the group chat so you can pull it up high res. But I took this on my iPhone and I kind of tried to make it look like it was on like a film camera, very orangey, very grainy, edited on Lightroom Mobile. It's actually the photo that FaZe Banks posted. It's actually a screenshot from his story. That is like one of the first pictures I ever took.
This one right
and
here.
Edited. Oh, yep, that was it. Very not my own style. I don't know if any.
Hold on, I gotta take off the LUT real quick. There you go. Because I have a LUT on mine, or on my capture card coming over, so that's what it looks like specifically. Like coming over. Actually, I have to take off the sharpen, and then I have to take off the color correction. So that is
Yep.
kind of the initial, like, kind of how it looked. But I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
reapply my color sharpening, and then you guys
Yep.
can see the difference, because, like I said, I've been learning about LUTs. I've been learning about all these different things, and like
Mm-hmm.
being able to apply to like photos and stuff like that.
Yeah. My inspiration for that photo, there's a photographer named Ray's Corrupted Mind. He
Mm-hmm.
works with FaZe, but he was Travis Scott's photographer, and he has that kind of orangey vintage look. And I tried to make it work, and it got me some recognition. I got it posted on XQC, posted on his Instagram story, Banks posted on an Instagram story, and Aiden Ross posted that because it was at his event. And that was just off my iPhone. I didn't even try to take that. That was before I even figured out how to use the photography settings on my camera. I bought this camera for video, and I learned it could take photos. And Carbon was still explaining some things to me back in November, but yeah, that was the first ever picture I actually took and like edited in Lightroom Mobile, not even regular Lightroom. I edited that on Lightroom Mobile, and I mean, it got the look I was looking for, but that picture is terrible compared to pictures I've taken now and looked back on. And I actually want to do a thing where I would go back and re-edit that original photo if I can find it, because that'd be pretty cool, and try to make it look good. But my iPhone camera is not as good as my Sony. But yeah, it's definitely evolved a lot. I don't like the warmer tints, the vintage look anymore. I'm very much a cool colored guy, and I definitely like how my style is now, and it's very cool tinted. I try to stay away from warm colors. I just don't like them. I don't know why. I got a problem with them. I just like the very bluish, cool colors, and learning a lot about like linear mask in Lightroom has helped a lot. So, but yeah, my style has definitely evolved a lot. Just even that picture was from January. I didn't take another picture until probably October, November. So,
Carbon, are you sharing inside a video?
I'm not gonna lie. So let's see. So I think
Also, you're
I'm going
double
to
feeding
point it
back.
out. Give me a second.
No worries, no worries. But dude, it's so cool to watch like where people's photography and like content first come from, to like how it evolves over time, and like genuinely like kind of seeing like the content like just in general evolve from where it starts to where it goes is such a cool thing. Because this is going to be a really cool transition. I'll give you guys a little bit of hint of the next question I'm going to. It's going to talk about the editing tools. It's going to talk about what you guys need to actually get your job done. So, the reason why I always like to bring up even like the first content when I talk to content creators versus where they're at now, we talk about the stuff that they learned throughout the way, their journey. So, and Carbon, I know I want to see your first one, so I'll let you. Once you're ready, we can pop in.
Learning how to locally mask was definitely a game changer for me.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, I don't even know how to locally mask, to be honest. Well, actually, I don't know a lot about photography. I know how to use filters. Yeah.
that's the worst feeling when you take a picture of someone and they slap an Instagram filter on top of it. I'm like, I spent an hour editing that photo.
Oh gosh. And are they asked for the raws after you send them stuff you
I would
already done?
never
And you're
send
like,
a raw.
really?
Never, never.
We still
Like
got you
I
double
said
feeding back.
I am.
I wonder if that's through Discord or if you are unmuted inside a video.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Here, I'll do this. Go ahead.
All right. What's up?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Interesting. All right, there you go. Okay. As far as my first is concerned, because kind of going back to that conversation we had. So I I have to go back years and years and years when it comes to that type of stuff, that specific question and everything. But like one recently, I guess you could say I took like a year ago, and I was contracted out through Insomniac and everything when I was shooting in EDC. I thought it was a good idea to just bring a tiny little my small little S9, my Lumix S9, which is it's a really great camera, really cool little full frame
We
camera.
do still have you feeding back double. For some reason,
We
I'm
did?
not. Yeah, I'm not sure where that is coming from. I think you said something about an audio looper, right? Going into Discord.
Interesting. Let me check something out here real quick.
Yeah, no worries. But see, this goes into all worlds of content. Would you ever have like any content creator that puts any type of event on? always has some type of technical issues that we always have to work out. It would not be a production without a technical issue. And whether it be from an audio perspective, whether it be from a visual perspective, like we all have them. Whether it be from you had the perfect shot, it was in your hands, and then you just missed it by a millisecond. I know there's probably stories about that one.
I had that happen to my friend actually at Sweden. His SD card got full right before one of the games, and luckily Carbon always told me keep 2 on you at all times. I don't care if it's a terabyte SD card, you always keep 2 on you.
I mean, always having that memory and having that backup is such an integral part. But it's so important, like with any aspect of content, because like being able to allow yourself that ability to be able to pull things through. Like I have a 4 terabyte hard drive. If it ends, I'll have a backup place to put things. But one thing I do know for sure is it will never fully get full. Probably let's test that. Let's see if we're still feeding back here.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go. Go. Hello.
Oh, I think I just did it again.
Did it just do it again?
I think so, for me at least. I don't know.
Let's see. That's right there. Or we can try that one.
Let's try that one. I don't think it did it.
Okay. So that's the main channel. Okay, interesting. All right, there you go. I think that worked out.
All right. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah. Let's see. Wow, that's actually very interesting. All right, good to know. I just learned something today. All right. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay, so back to the main story here. Everything's good?
Yeah, we're all good. We're all Gucci.
All right, Gucci. All right, so let me go show this real quick and everything. So I thought it was a really good idea for me to go ahead and just pull through this.
I wonder if it's a Discord thing, because let's try something different. I'm gonna have you go ahead and unmute in video here, and I'm gonna pull a different video scene in real quick on your specific scene, because I want to see if I can pull. We're gonna do a little bit of a change of things here. And don't worry, I have the ability to edit things, so no worries at all.
Yeah, interesting. Did it just started or I wonder.
Actually, I don't think that's gonna work because the browser source is already in the scene. Let me try one of these, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. We're going to figure this out. We're going to go into properties. We're going to control audio via OBS. It's going to be like that, and then we're going to close that. All right. Now, let's see what we got going. All right. Are you in? Oh, back in.
Yep, back in Discord.
Oh no, we're listening, COD Ghost Team. Trust me, we are watching and we're listening. We're just trying to figure out an audio situation.
All right, so I'm muted over here at video, and then I'm on Discord here.
Oh, perfect. I think we should be good because I think we're all right.
It's fixing it now for me. I'll let you know if it picks up again.
Sounds good to me.
Gosh, I thought you were a professional, Carbon. What do you mean you mess stuff up?
Honestly, audio has always been it's been my favorite. You know how basically how people say oh man, what's your least favorite subject at school? And for me, it would be it would be math, but the equivalent of math is audio. As much as I love audio and everything, I hate it. It's just a pain in the butt and everything. So you just see my ASIO 4R. My stuff is just so weird. But anyway, so we're good to go. We're ready to rock.
We are good to go.
Excellent. All right, so let me show you this real quick for a minute. So this is like a bit of a do not share audio tab. There you go. All right. So this is a shoot that I did like a year ago and everything at EDC. And here's the kind of funny thing though.
We are not seeing that yet there, honey.
Gotcha. I am sharing it through Video Ninja. So
let me try to pull that up real quick then.
Yeah.
Gonna be a quick swap. Oh, I do see your Video Ninja link. All right. So then that way I can do one of these. I could do one of these, and then I can pull one of these. And ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, we are going to get this going in just a moment. Copy link, add browser source, pop open the thing, screen share. Pow. And it'll take a second.
Da-da. Da-da-da-da.
Bam. Just like that.
There you go. All right. So here are a couple of shots basically that I got from EDC 2024. I didn't go this year because, your boy had back-to-back things. I shot TwitchCon and I shot DreamHack, and then I was invited to do InfinityCon, which I canceled that contract because your brother needed some. He was tired. So I shot this last year. And I walked in with the S9 and a tiny little lens and everything, nothing more, nothing less than everything. And even though some of these photos, like, dang, some of these are good. Like these are, I think maybe if I'm gonna count this right and everything, 16 and everything, right? 20, less than 20 basically photos out of 300 that I shot that evening, and they were all a blurry mess. And I try to basically be slick basically with the low light and the shutter effect here, and then like if y'all look really close to it and everything, you can get really grainy and everything. But there's a reason why these basically are like sort of compressed and reduced down, because they just look absolutely, like, in my personal opinion and everything, not exactly my best work, if you will. But this was like around last year. I wish I can show y'all the pictures I took, 10 plus years ago and everything. But that in itself and everything, that's in an archive in one of my servers, and that's gonna basically be like a B and a half, if you will, to dig out. But while some of these basically look good up just to my standards and style and everything, these could have easily been lighting. These could have basically, the lighting could have been better, the editing could have been better, all kinds of different things could have been better. But that's just me, and I keep this on my portfolio, on my main page and everything, because it's just a reminder basically of how far I've gone and how far I've come, especially when it comes to night photography. And I know better to basically, like, not bring just a small little flash that's like less than like 15 watts. So, but you live and learn and you figure things out basically as you do and as you go. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much it.
It's such a really
Nothing too
cool,
crazy.
It's such a really cool thing to be able to watch somebody's like full photos, and like just like their OG photos, and like to be able to kind of pull certain things back and be able to do stuff like that, because it brings us into the stuff that we learned throughout the way, and a lot of things that people don't know, especially in a world of content, whether it be in a world of photography, is the editing tools that we use. So, and I know this is a hot topic when you talk to specific photographers or content creators, but what is your preferred editing tool? And what do you think people need to know as a new content creator going into photography?
Google.
Google? Hell yeah.
Okay, fellas. Okay, let's get it. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Can you get on me? Like, yo, like, okay, like let's first of all, Google and YouTube. Let's just start right there.
Yes.
Let's just start right
Yeah.
there. But overall, as far as like an actual tool in itself, personally for me, it has to be, and I cannot stress this enough, like it has to be Aftershoot for calling it, for
100%.
calling. For
Oh
calling,
my god, that was such a
for
game
calling,
changer when I started
Cal.
using
Yeah,
it.
Cal and I had this conversation. We had this conversation at DreamHack. Aftershoot is probably like one of the best. I'd say it's definitely the best tool that I've utilized this year in terms of not only like from a cost reduction standpoint, from a professional standpoint, in terms of basically like from a time standpoint, from a cost reduction standpoint, but also for just overall from a sanity and time standpoint, it is the most effective tool I've ever utilized in terms of my workflow. I cannot stress enough. I think I might have saved, according to their analytics, I definitely saved more time, more than like 40 months of editing, specifically speaking. I don't use it to really edit. I use it to cull and basically sort out groups of photos and everything, depending on the clientele. And then from there, I manually still go into there and then I do my own edit in my styles. But just it taking basically 90% of the workload off of my chest has been the most effective tool in terms of my turnout and how I basically go from like taking a picture to sending it to the clients and basically the clients being happy, and
So-
as obviously basically doing my admin tools with that.
For somebody
Content,
that
so.
doesn't know what Aftershoot is, what would you say Aftershoot is for somebody, and why should they learn it?
It's the mecca. No, honestly though, but like, Aftershoot basically, it's essentially an AI artificial intelligence based culling and editing piece of software and everything to plainly put it simply put, if you will, right?
Sure.
But personally for me, we utilize it basically just for culling and basically and overall just arrangements of my photos themselves. I don't rarely use it basically for editing because I like to do that by myself, right? And also I have other tools that I utilize for batch editing as well and everything that usually works out in itself and everything and yields better results than an AI tool when it comes to that. But long story short, basically, it's a piece of software that you utilize. It basically is a software that basically takes out your albums, takes out basically all of the data basically from your SD card that you utilize and everything, right? It feeds it basically into their system and their algorithm. It utilizes basically like sort of masking, non-masking, different type of algorithms in terms of basically like what's the most viable picture. It identifies basically like eye faces, blurry different images, backgrounds, and everything, and they're going to be baking in like exposure levels and all kinds of different things and everything in like a future update. But overall, though, effectively what it does basically like it picks out what the best photos or basically with the best photos basically that can basically be potentially be edited at a certain point. And from there, basically, like it's I cannot stress and everything. I think I've gone through. I think I've ran probably over 150,000 photos through that over the past like year and a half of owning that software tool and everything. And even from there, I still basically manually go through the culling process and everything, right? Because it's just not a product process, right? It just reduces that time by a lot. But that's basically what it does. It basically goes to your photos. It picks out which ones basically that they recommend that you keep, that you recommend basically that you kind of keep an eye on, and basically, trash the rest and everything, or kind of if they also identifies duplicates as well. But I cannot stress enough. After shoot, literally hands down, hands down. That is the number one tool that I add in my workflow without a single doubt and everything, aside from administrative stuff and everything. So, but yes.
And what about you guys? What is one tool, or what are the tools that you guys use in your video editing process? And yeah, Kybdos team, you make a good point. We'll touch on AI in a moment, because I know we have a whole lot of discussion in regards to AI, and I know a lot of people are very opinionated on it.
My workflows take the picture on my camera, and then like end of the day, I'll have my my CF Express reader upload it into my portable SD, and then I'll run it through Aftershoot, and then from what it takes out of Aftershoot, because it'll make whatever, like you can set whatever batch size you want in Aftershoot, and then you can set it to a destination folder, and then from that folder, I'll pull that one into. I use On1 Photo Raw. I don't use Adobe because On1 lets you pay for it just flat out, and so I can just so I just have the 2025 copy of Aftershoot, and I don't have to pay a monthly subscription, and then that's how I just do my edits from there.
And like honestly, like what it's sounding like, Aftershoot is kind of like one of those integral parts of being able to pull batch photos together. Shawnee, what about you? What are what are those tools that you utilize in your editing process?
It's gonna hate me because I will never switch because I pay for the entire Adobe suite because I use all of it for all work. But I use Adobe Lightroom, and the assisted culling has gotten a lot better recently. So it pretty much has the same thing Aftershoot does, where I can cull through photos. It'll rate them based on eyes closed, blurriness, pretty much the whole thing Aftershoot does, just a little bit worse. But I just use it the same way everyone else does for they do Aftershoot. I use it. It culls through all my photos for me. It gives me the best ones. I'll go through manually edit all of them, or sometimes I'll just drop a LUT if it's speed, because a lot of clients, you don't need a perfect picture, they just need it speed, and a lot of people don't understand that speed is everything. I think me and Carbon, we were competing. It was a silent competition after we got back from DreamHack to see who could get our photos done first. I mean, we were racing it a little bit. We both we got a lot of photos done. I mean, after it culls through, you probably still have 1,000 photos to edit manually.
Mhm.
So for a lot of it, you can just drop a LUT on and it will be fine. The one thing I do like about Adobe is you can mass denoise photos. So it does it pretty fast because denoising is the slowest thing ever. It doesn't matter how good your PC is, it's still going to take a minute to denoise the photos. And for people that doesn't know what that is, so if I overexpose with my ISO, it'll be very grainy. And so that work in for a lot of situations that's very needed, especially at these events where they keep the lights way too dark, which I've been saying is an issue. Brighten it up just a little bit, guys. But
Help us
it
out.
you know exactly what I mean, Carbon. You took the perfect photo, but you got to bump your ISO up to 5,000. It's not a base ISO, and there's so much grain. But luckily, denoise with AI has gotten so good to where I can pretty much set it on the max setting at night photography, and it will get rid of all the grain for me pretty much. But I just use Adobe Lightroom because I pay for the entire suite, Premiere Pro, After Effects. I'm so looped in. It's like Apple. When you buy one Apple product, you buy all of them, and you're looped in the ecosystem. And I personally don't like DaVinci Resolve or anything, so I'm stuck with Adobe.
I feel you in regards to the Adobe Suite because like I know a lot of people that professionally utilize video editing software, like utilize like the Adobe Suite when you get like to the high end professional level of things. But now one of the topics that you guys mentioned that is going to stir a lot of noise in the room, and is something that I like to touch on as a tech nerd is AI. So, AI is one of those things that is taking over in essence. Now, I say that because every single tool now, whether it be photo related, whether it be Adobe related, whether it be video related, has some sort of AI integration into it now because that's just how the tech world is going. Yeah, you're right. Some people do use CapCut. So what are your guys' thoughts on AI? And do you think it's a helpful tool? Or do you think it's something that people should have that stern cutoff and say, like, you know what, you're taking someone's job. We have to do it the old fashioned way.
Doesn't matter what we think. I mean, let's be honest with you. We're not the CEOs, we're not the billionaires, we're not the stakeholders, we're not the individuals who are calling the shots here, really. So realistically speaking, I think for us as professionals, photographers, basically, I think the real question really is basically is like, how can we adjust and adapt to this ever growing field that utilizes AI? Because it's going to happen. It's a tool that we need to basically eventually need to understand and embrace and learn how do we utilize it, or we just could be left in the dust. That's just it. So
Yeah,
that's
and
that's just it.
like as much as I'd like to say it's not like a fine line in the sand that you can draw, because honestly, for like 90% of my work, I will live and die by a generative eraser. Like taking shit out of the background of my pictures is generative erasing, and
Yes.
I'm not going back to using a spot tool to do that. I will happily paint over it, let it pick it out.
And I know
Doing that manually, no more.
The pain in his eyes.
I'll definitely let you talk in a second on that, but like I know everybody is like so anti AI. I know when it comes to stuff like that, and as somebody who works in cybersec, there's ways to manipulate metadata to allow. Well, we'll get to that in a second, Shawnee. I'll let you go.
I might have a bit of a different opinion because I haven't been doing it as long as these guys. I have no idea what they're even talking about right there. That's how new I am. I came up in the industry with AI for editing tools. AI will always be a tool, and I think people need to adapt to it, or you will get left behind. But for the people saying it's going to take jobs, creatives like us, AI will never think a creative way that we do. And coming from someone who edits videos for a living, and that's how I make my income, I use AI tools. You could put the AI tools in someone's hand who doesn't know how to video edit, and it's going to be a terrible video still. It's not going to magically, AI is not going to magically make you a great video. You have to know how to edit a video. You still have to know how to do these things. AI is just going to speed up the process. And for a lot of people, if you don't adapt, you're going to get left behind. But I feel like most creatives are smart enough to use it as a tool. And I mean, even Lightroom, denoising is AI now. It's not, you can't denoise without AI. There's no way to avoid AI. And I think it's a dumb argument to say avoid AI. Now, I think that's just from the creative standpoint. I don't want to get into the whole job market aspect of it, but I think creatives, AI will never replace us because AI is not creative. It is known knowledge because even generative AI, when everyone was doing the trend, now all AI photos will have a yellowish tint because so many people were generating those images.
Yep.
AI is not as smart as us, and it'll never, I mean, maybe it will. Who knows? I'm not going to say that. It could be that in 5 years. But as a creative, it's a tool and you can use it and it helps a lot. I use it every day. When I edit, I use it when I do photos. But to say AI could replace the entire creative side of it, I don't think that's possible because AI can never be as creative as a person and never have ideas people are still coming up with photography ideas that have never been done before. People are still taking some photos that would never have been taken before because they're creative. And that's what it is. That's why the creative space, I don't want to say will fully be affected by AI. I mean, it's going to be affected, but it won't be taken over by AI because the creative industry, it's the weird one. We probably won't lose our jobs to AI. Some people in other industries might, but the creative aspect of it will always be. I don't think AI could ever out creative somebody. You know what I mean?
So, I'm going to play devil's advocate here to an extent. As somebody who codes AI, loves AI, utilizes AI in pretty much everything that they do, pushes things through AI, do you think there is a point where AI could potentially be doing too much? Do you think there is something that we could do? Like, say for someone is like, oh, I like this photo. You give them like the test photo, right? And then they take it and then they throw it through an AI generated software. And then it comes up with something new and then they claim it as their own. What are your thoughts on that?
Ooh. Okay. That's a really good question because, okay, so LUTs. I think the explanation basically of LUTs are lookup tables and everything, right? Essentially,
Yes.
they're like fancy presets for the chat and everything, right? Who don't understand it. So it's basically fancy presets for filters and everything that you could apply on a raw image or a photo and everything, right? To make it look like a certain type of particular image, right? And there are individuals out there basically who sell their LUTs, their recipes, their film grade type of emulations and everything, type deals and everything out there, right? And there are actual there's an actual industry for that, which is being absolutely destroyed because guess what? AI. So I could go ahead and I can basically take a photo that basically this individual film emulated, run it through ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT, hey, give me like the actual coding and direct recipe for this, right? And it could get something, give it something to me that's around like 95 to a 98% hit rate of what that person created, that they effectively basically put their blood, sweat, and tears over. And now it's basically, it's kaput. Now it's something that I can claim that I created and everything on my own, technically speaking, if I was disingenuous in that faction, right? So with that being said, that's one of the many ways in which basically it can be utilized to manipulate certain like industries and markets and everything. And as far as it being going too far, I think that from a cybersecurity standpoint, because I work in cybersecurity and have been for quite some time, percussive and everything. And then as a gentleman, we talked about that as everything once, what I do actually professionally and have done for quite some time. And I'm very well versed when it comes to AI. And especially when it comes to overall like cybersecurity, whether it's personal or government based, right? And I could say right now, the conversation of basically if at least our particular government, if it's gone too far, I'm like, yeah, it's gone too far, and there aren't individuals who have the best interest for us to be protected and for us to stop. Like there should be regulations, there should be privacy controls, there should be all kinds of different things that should have already been established at this point, but they aren't. And there's no sign in which basically like it's going to go that way. That's just the dark truth of it. That's just how it is, and everything, right? So now I think the real question is basically, which is, I keep basically answering questions with questions, but this is kind of basically, that's just kind of how it is when it comes to the bigger side of this argument. When it comes to AI, it's like, okay, how can we better educate ourselves into protecting our IP, our images, our privacy regarding these things? And what can we do in order to basically become more knowledgeable and resourceful in terms of protecting ourselves, especially when it comes to creators, when it comes to creativity things, when it comes to basically like, if even from voice stuff, from photos and everything, how can we protect ourselves and protect our IP from this wave of individuals who are nefarious and will be utilizing and are currently utilizing these tools to steal, work or copy things, or manipulate the markets. So, but that's my input when it comes to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like understanding AI and understanding like the output of it, somebody else who has cybersecurity background and knowledge base on it, the potential manipulation of metadata to be able to create something new could be also utilized as our best friend to be able to prevent AI tools from taking in images or videos or stuff like that via a do not prompt message. Because, for example, one of the things that I'm working on from an own personal business is and I'm not going to say too much about it because it's going to be public, but actually it's going to be public before anybody has a chance to even take it.
Yeah,
but,
OPSEC.
OPSEC, yes. But manipulation of metadata that internally has a do not prompt tool on said thing, so that whenever somebody uploads a video into that, or image into that, or product into that, or Word document into that, or email into that, or Excel file into that, it will immediately pull back. I'm sorry, I can't decipher this. It won't let me prompt it, or whatever the return message could be. That's a whole coding that could potentially be super useful for the photography industry and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with Carpet said. We were cracking jokes about it when he was telling me about ways to monetize as a photographer, talking about LUTs. And he's like, someone could just chat GPT your LUT. Why would they pay for it? They can just chat GPT it. And I've tried it a couple times with pictures. It gets it pretty much right sometimes. Sometimes it totally F's up the image. Carmen, do you remember the one I showed you where it turned my image fully
I was like, this is
saturated?
cooked. This is cooked, son.
It was.
It's cooked.
I tried to do like a grainy, like that film style look, and it just made my image look terrible.
Well, it's like it's a deep fried meme.
It's a deep fried meme.
It looked like that. It looked like the MLG era pictures. It really did. And I think that it's scary because that is how some people make their living. And if you can just slap that into that, and it can literally output the LUT file perfectly at a 98% success rate, it kind of is a little scummy. And there are people who are going to do it. That's just human race. People are going to do it. People aren't going to buy LUTs anymore in the future. We'll see. But yeah, that's about my opinion on that.
What about you, Cal? What is your opinion on the overtaking of AI?
Yeah, about the same though. Honestly, like from a creative space, at least for photography and videography standpoint, we probably have a couple of years until it can start from like the baseline, because like I have some amount of background in robotics, and I don't like Boston Dynamics is doing some cool stuff out there. I don't see Spot coming out to like DreamHack anytime soon with a like camera on its back being able to take the shots that we take. So they still need the base product first to feed it into the LLM. So here we are.
It would honestly be really cool from a tech perspective to see if someone has the ability to create a bot that has the ability to take a photographer like a professional or a photograph like a professional photographer. I don't think that's going to be possible, especially considering that there's so much with that. But I want to kind of switch gears. That we talked about some of the negative stuff in regards to photography online. We talked about some of the processes that we use in regards to photography. But how do you guys as content creators start building your brands? Start pushing out in networking? And this is one of my favorite topics, as Carbon, you know very well. How do beginners start building relationships with models, brands, or creatives without feeling like they're not big enough yet?
Man, oh gosh. Okay, all right. Yeah, you already know. But we're gonna keep it simple because I can rant on this for hours.
And as can I.
I'm gonna try to keep it as G-rated as possible. Just send the dang email, send the dang message. Just talk to people, show up. A lot of people expect things to fall on their freaking lap in this industry. A lot of content creators expect it. I'm like, no one even knows who you are if you would exist in anything, right? Say, for example, you have 0 followers, you have like no portfolio in anything, right? Still ask. You still have to push your foot forward out there, because if you don't do that, you're just going to basically wallow in your own. You're basically just going to put yourself into a trap in which you're going to not want to do it overall, though, right? You know, imposter syndrome is a dangerous thing, and
Yes,
it's basically industry wide, and it's very much deep seated within the content creation industry, especially photography and videography. You know, and one of the things I see constantly when it comes to beginners is the fact that, like, if my stuff still good enough? You know, and once again, going back to basically what I said about basically, Teddy Roosevelt, comparison is death of joy. Does it really matter? Like, just go out there and put your foot forward, talk with people. You know, you see your brand out there and everything you want to be curious about, just be honest with them and everything, be upfront and everything, have a conversation with them, boom, boom, send it out there, right? Oh no, it didn't work. Whether it's a smaller opportunity or a larger one, right? People have to understand the fact that your voice won't heard if you don't freaking speak. So speak
Yes.
up. Anyways, I'm gonna stop right there because I have a bigger rant. But I'm gonna stop.
I could literally talk about networking for hours and hours and hours on end. Cal, Shawnee, what are your guys' thoughts on regards to networking? What are your thoughts on like how beginners could potentially build relationships without feeling that they're not big enough yet?
I can go off that,
Sure.
but like, yeah, as Carbon said, you kind of just gotta do the dang thing. Like when I started doing conventions, I started like I didn't necessarily start with clients and all that jazz. I just went because I knew some friends that were going, and then that's like where I started the con photography of sorts. With DreamHack, was one of my friends was a streamer, and so I took pictures of her at the stream hub, Escasian or Libby, and then same with Flip Rodriguez and Megan Budway. Like I took streamer pictures of them at the Creator Hub, and then I took like other random pictures here and there.
Mhm.
It'll give Carbon an aneurysm when I say that when I started last year doing this, I would just send like cold call Google Drive folders to people. Don't do it anymore. I use Pixie Set now. But like
Yeah,
I would
I
just
use
send
Pixie Set too. Yeah, let's go. Pixie
it's
Set.
Pixie
Let's go.
Set now. But it was just cold call Google Drive folders of like random candidates that I took of like random ass people here and there.
But I mean,
it's
hey,
Pixie Set drives now. Like it's
but-
Pixie Set galleries.
we all
but it is
start
just
somewhere.
like random cold call galleries.
Yep,
And
exactly.
so
Hey, he knocked on the door with those.
But we all start somewhere with our networking. We all start somewhere because there's always a way to network. There's always a way to grow. Shawnee, what are your thoughts on networking and how to build yourself in for creators who might think that you're just not big enough to reach out yet?
I have a very strong opinion about that, and Carbon knows this story because I told him. I had 100 followers on Twitter. I'm an 18-year-old with no skills, right? Don't know how to edit, don't know how to hold a camera, don't know how to do anything except game 12 hours a day. FaZe Banks made his Twitter.com on Twitter. I tweeted at him in July. He replies. I have it pulled up right here. He says, "You definitely have a future in this industry, my boy. Stay active." He shot me a follow. 1 month later, I had my internship at FaZe. Editing. Had no idea how to edit. I learned on the fly. And it was all because I made one tweet that I didn't want to post. My girlfriend at the time, fiance now, made me post it. And it changed my whole life. After that, I just started posting. I started asking, DMing people. I DM'd one of my favorite childhood creators in December. January 3rd, I was in Miami living with him. Just like that, because I sent out a DM. And if you have confidence, even if you're bullshitting, I was bullshitting. I didn't know how to do a lot of stuff. I didn't know how to use a live view backpack in a Sony camera. No idea. I bullshitted my way through it. I learned on the job, and because I had the confidence, and if you speak with confidence, people believe you. They don't know if you're bullshitting, but it really taught me a lot that, and I'm not gonna lie, might be a hot take. Famous people check their DMs more than smaller people.
Yes, they do.
They will see your DM.
100%.
A lot of, and people don't understand it, but famous people will read your DM, and if you can capture their interest, they will reply to you. And it worked for me. It got me where I am now. If I didn't make that one tweet to FaZe Banks, I wouldn't be anywhere in the industry. I'd still be an 18-year-old in my mom's basement. And that just goes to show that I made that tweet. It didn't get any traction for the first day. The next day, he replies. I had 100 followers on Twitter. Now I'm at 3K in less than a year, and now I'm doing all this because I made one tweet. Without that one tweet, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be on this podcast right now. I wouldn't have met Carbon. I wouldn't have met any of y'all. And it really goes to show that you can just put yourself out there and it will work. And you have to take the risk. I mean, the risk was people seeing my tweet and laughing at me. That was the risk. And it had a great reward. And just send DMs. People reply. I don't send emails. I've never sent an email once. Carbon was like, when I told him that, he was laughing. I'm like, I don't use my email. I made a business email a couple of months ago. I don't use my email. I send DMs, and it works. Now it works because I have a following, but it worked before because I have confidence. If you have confidence and you have something to show for your work, even if you don't think your portfolio is good, if it looks professional enough, they'll believe you. And if you have the confidence when you talk to people, and I mean, I talked to a lot of org owners at DreamHack Sweden, and now I've booked meetings with all of them just because you have to learn how to talk and you have to be charismatic. That's the
Yes.
one thing all three of us have in common. We're a little charismatic and you can turn it on, and you have to have that side of you if you want to like work with these big people. You have to have some charisma and some charm about you,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to be good at talking. You have to be able to think on the fly. Like that's all it
Absolutely.
is being able to talk your way into any job. Like I didn't know anything about editing. I didn't know anything about cameras. I knew how to work YouTube, and I learned.
Well, and that's a huge thing that you bring up because the world of networking and the world of content, and I could talk about this for decades. Carbon knows I will talk your ear off. Um, Carbon knows a lot now that we think about it. We mentioned him knowing a lot. But anyways, I digress. Networking in a nutshell is just putting yourself out there, allowing yourself to take that step, sending that DM. Do not be afraid to send that DM. I would not have this podcast if it wasn't for me reaching out to the Only Shady and Bad Bear Gamer and saying, hey, do you guys want to talk about Call of Duty on a podcast? Do you want to talk about the current state of content in 2022? Or sorry, 2022. And this podcast has now been around for 3 years, where I've had countless of different niches that we discuss, whether it be Call of Duty, whether it be Fortnite, whether it be videographers, editing personnel, photographers, Canva artists, VTubers, Anitubers, Johnny Tubers, and like, I mean, you name it, they're there. But sending that DM is one of the most important things. And Ash said it perfect yesterday because Ash was on the podcast last night. Do not sell yourself short. You never know your self-worth, and you have to have that confidence to be able to reach out to people. I would never have even been able to meet Bobby if it wasn't for me reaching out and sending a message and asking her if she wanted to do certain things. It is all about being confident in yourself, allowing yourself to have that charisma, allowing yourself to be able to meet people, and allowing yourself to put yourself out there in the open. Networking is not just DMing and talking to people, too. It's about holding yourself in a professional manner in all aspects of the public eye. So this is something that I love to discuss and love to talk about from a whole thing. And when we were in Artemis's Discord that one day, I talked about this for a solid 15 minutes, and people probably got annoyed with me, but I don't care. The opportunities come from when you hold yourself professionally and you act professionally and you put yourself professionally. Going to a convention, being offered a streaming position, and not showing up because you drank the night before is not the move. But allowing yourself to be able to make those connections and putting yourself out there, taking that streaming slot, taking the opportunity, taking the bull by the horns. You have so many businesses that talk about pulling the bull by the horns, and that's what they mean. And that was the initial thing. That confidence, that charisma that allows yourself to push forward and allows yourself to be able to hold yourself with who you are. And that's how I even grew as a streamer. But no one knows Percussive173 yet. But in 3 years, they might.
Yeah, I mean, even when I met Carbon, it was just the confidence to walk up to him and talk about cameras. We didn't know each other, but we both saw he had a camera, and we kind of locked eyes, and we talked probably 2 hours that night, and then now he doesn't leave me alone. He texts me all the time. So
Like, what are you doing? Are you asleep? What you wearing?
That connection is how things start. And it's like with everything. It's like, for example, I wouldn't have met Carbon if it wasn't for me meeting Bobby, if it wasn't for me going to Ghost, and I wouldn't have met anybody. And like, it is about putting yourself in an uncomfortable position, but allowing yourself to exploit your talent in the best possible manner. Because we are all turning our passions into a path. There's only one journey in the world of content creation, and it's what we make of it. So I must ask you guys, what does that passion mean for sustainable growth as a photographer in 2025? Is a definite loaded question here. So
You talking about money? You talking about making the bank? Like,
well,
like what is?
I guess the best question to start
Keep it real
would
here.
be, what would the sustainable growth look like to you? Is it money? Is it followers? Is it connections? What does that mean?
I
I'd say
think
it's
connections are way more important than money. I mean, I've never made $1 off photography, but I could now that I have all these connections and I know all these people. And when I was living in Miami with all these creators, I had $20 in my bank account. But I was around big streamers. I was meeting FaZe Banks. I was meeting Aiden Ross. I established those connections. Those people know me by name and face now. If they saw me, they would know who I am. I'm not just a random person to them anymore. And I think connections are way more important than any monetary value. You can't buy connections. You can't buy people knowing you. As much as people think you can, money does not equal you being successful at all. As a photographer, as a streamer, whatever, it's all about people who you know. Who you know is your net worth at the end of the day. Who you know is your net worth. Because I mean, you could I think that's where a lot of people they try to they try to not every shoot you need to make money on. Because when I was shooting for Ghost, I mean, I wasn't contracted by Ghost, but it got me connection with everyone at Ghost. Everyone knows me by name now. Everyone got their photos from me. I met Carbon, which was an insane connection. I met a bunch of great people in Atlanta just because I was like, I'm here. I might as well shoot some photos. And that was a free shoot. I took 10,000 photos, a little more than I probably should have. It was a little rough on me. But
But
I
you
mean,
put
yeah,
yourself out there.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
What about you guys?
Yeah, my
What
path is
go for it.
roughly the same. I have yet to make a dime on my photography. I've made a like lunch at a convention here and there, but it's all about just getting to know people and getting people to know you, because I've been told that I should be charging for some of the stuff that I do, like the like Creator Hub, Candids, and all that jazz, like Stream Hub stuff that I take. I've been told that I could probably charge for that. I have yet to convince myself to actually do that. But like just getting to know people, and I've made so many friends, and like a lot of content creators that I don't think I would necessarily would have ever gotten to know without it. I've gotten to know, and then there's some content creators that like if I'm at a convention and they're at the same convention, I'll get a DM from them like, "Hey, are you busy? I have a couple of friends, or I have something that I'm up to. Can you come take a shoot for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Just send me a time and a place, and I'll be there." And I'll send them the pictures later on, and they love it. So your network is your net worth.
The huge thing in this industry.
So from my perspective here, well, I do agree. I'm also I'm a realist. Let's keep it real here, right? Um, Going to these conventions and being a presence at these conventions, it's expensive. Doing what we do is freaking expensive. Not only just physically showing up, the room and board, all these different things, right? It's freaking expensive. The average person wouldn't be able to do it, let alone average individual within our industry who claims himself to be a professional photographer, right? Won't be able to do it. Well, it's basically like it's a dream shot for a lot of people to do what we do, right? And so with that being said, while I do agree to a certain extent that the connections is number one for me personally, I agree with you 100%. I am of that nature. I know what that stands. However, when it comes to basically like the moolah element, I'm like, I'm a little bit more like, okay, so I'm a little bit more CRM based, if you will, and everything, right? I'm a little bit more honeybook invoice based. I send things over to people and everything, and everything, right? Because at the end of the day, though, and everything, well, I personally basically can, to a certain degree, afford it. Outside of that also is leaking basically into like my personal funds from like a professional standpoint, right, with my career and everything, right. And so while I do these things for free to a certain extent, as far as the service is concerned, when it comes to content creators, when it comes to connecting with different people and everything, right. Um, I basically of the position basically now, especially these past couple of months, basically where I've been requested, if not basically have been given a lot of opportunities basically to send out invoices and receive monetary compensation back. And I think I tweeted about this actually like a couple of months ago, the fact basically like I'm booked basically for a couple of different events, a couple of different weddings and everything, and I'm being flown out to places and getting all this sent and everything, right? There's nothing wrong, especially when it comes to like, whether beginner or moderate or individuals who've been in industry or those who haven't, such as you gentlemen here, have requested monetary compensation. There's nothing wrong with asking for that. Because at the end of the day, though, you guys are talented. A lot of photographers out there are talented. And I think there's this underlying fear of people asking or being thought of a certain way when they're asking for money and compensate or some sort of compensation or some sponsorship for their services. In reality, that's not the case and everything, right? Like as we discussed earlier ago, you guys have to stand on your business and know your worth and your talent and what you're putting out there. And you two gentlemen put out some really good shit, really good shit. Some of it kind of like, yeah. Some of it kind of like, I'm like, well, I think the, for lack of a better word, the overall notion of the community and the connections being a priority and that basically being something that y'all cherish. At the end of the day, though, motherfuckers, y'all gotta put a food on the table. Like y'all gotta get paid too. Y'all gotta get taken care of. I'm just saying, keep it $1.50, y'all, because this stuff is expensive and it's time consuming, and it's some real ish. So, but that's just how I feel about that. Okay, so so those are my 2 cents about that. I see both sides of it, but I'm gonna stand on business because I'm a businessman. So.
Yeah, I agree too. I agree with what you're saying. I mean, I'm at the point now. I mean, I told you these 2 shoots that I did at the end of the year. That was the portfolio. After that, no more free shoots. You got to book me. I mean, that's one thing you told me. You said after these shoots, you're not doing anything for free anymore. That's what you told me. You said after my 2 events, once you get your portfolio, you don't need to anymore. Luckily, now I'm in talks to where I can actually get paid for my photography work, and I still love it. It doesn't feel like a job, but getting paid for it is pretty nice.
Yeah, hey man, join us with Pixie Set. Yo, Cal, get him hooked up with a referral and everything, right? Come on, use that CRM, baby. We got you, man. I'll send you templates, man.
You have to invest in yourself to an extent, and as a content creator, if I pull up my P&L, right now I'm at negative 12.3K, and that's okay because I know at some point I'll eventually break out of that, and I'll do where I need to go. My whole setup is about $12,000. And it's going to be completely ever evolving because I need to now buy a new controller. I need to buy a new headset. I mean, there are things that I constantly want to upgrade in regards to the set, just like you guys constantly want to upgrade your cameras and constantly upgrade your lenses and constantly add new things to your arsenal is what we call them. But the world of photography and the world of content has a ton of similarities. So one of the last questions that I want to ask is, what similarities do you see in the world of content to the world of photography, and what makes you so enamored to become one of those industry professional photographers? I know this is a very tough question, and I always ask questions out of the blue.
I mean, the cloud's nice.
You said the cloud.
The cloud's nice. Can I be just keep it a real $1.50? So like
Absolutely.
it's just like we do this for the love of the craft, right? We do this basically for the love. I do this for the love of the game, do it for the craft. But obviously, once again, kind of going back to what we said in the previous conversation, compensation also basically to make sure that the ROI from that perspective and that standpoint is very nice, and that's also basically a key element when it comes to me doing this, right? But overall, though, right, just knowing that people like are doing it, people basically like see your vision through that lens, right? And they're like, and they love it, and they feel, and I mean, like seeing them light up and feel similarly, if not basically the same way you felt when you took that picture and you showed them, and you both are so locked in from a mental, emotional, and standpoint, and then they talking to their friends, hey, this dude, he gets it, right? That right there, and connecting through people through that and everything, right? And then from there, basically like that they talk to their friends and and everything, right? And basically when it comes to popularity, when it comes to basically everyone talking about you, and everything, right? That's nice. A lot of when it comes to content creators and everything, right? When people basically like when you get like 1,000 likes or 2,000 likes and everything, or a video goes viral and everything, right? That's nice. But from a photography standpoint and how it correlates from a content creator standpoint, just basically people overall accepting, not just accepting, but also being as enthusiastic as you about basically what you saw at that moment and how you shared it and through the mediums you shared it. That's freaking awesome, dude. That's awesome. Like that's a good feeling. It's like, yes, y'all think this is cool, right? Guys, this is cool, right? This is cool, right? Your buddies and everything, right? Like, oh my gosh, when you like get this really cool shot and everything from like 200, like, from a couple of yards away and everything using like a 200 millimeter lens and everything, right? That's like equivalent of like a headshot during a COD game and everything, right? And everyone saw that and that clip goes viral. That feels good to a motherfucker, right? I'm just keeping it real. So, but yeah, it feels great, So yeah. So I'm going to say first of all, right? Like, yeah, being able to capture it, once again, the foundation of things, being able to capture and being able to basically be the tool, the instrument to basically capture like these images, these memories, and be able to show the world what the beautiful, how beautiful it is and how beautiful people are. That's great. But also like, yeah, no, I shot that. That's really cool. It wasn't, yeah, it looked good, doesn't it? Yeah, that's the cool part right there. So, and that's basically what's also bridges a lot of content creators, and photographers and videographers as well. A lot of people don't like to talk about that because everyone likes to basically present themselves as egoless, but it's also nice to be recognized and acknowledged for your work. Just saying.
I definitely agree.
It is very
Piggyback
cool
on what you
to
said.
see
My
people
bad.
post your stuff and be like, yeah, I took that, or like once you establish like your style and seeing somebody post it and be like, that is mine. Hey,
It's a beautiful thing to
like
be able to
scrolling.
be. It's rewarding. It's kind of like how us content creators feel when somebody reposts our stuff. And like one of the best things that you can possibly say is to any type of content creator photographer is I really like your work. I mean, there's other avenues in that, and I can literally go on like for hours and hours and hours talking about like if you want to get on some content creators' good side, there are little things that you can do, but we're not going to go there. That's another episode. That's another day.
Yeah, I fully agree with what they said. A lot of people, I mean, we like to all think of ourselves as not having an ego, but when one of your clients post a picture and they say in the comments, this picture goes hard as fuck, someone says that, you get a good warm feeling in your heart, like, yeah, that's me. Or whenever they tag you and the photo goes absolutely insane, or a post blows up, or a big creator post a picture that you took, it feels amazing. Like that first time that my picture that I took of Banks got posted on the story, that was such a good feeling for me because I grew up watching the dude. Like, and then seeing him post my work on his story, and then seeing all the comments, like it just feels good. And allowing people to connect, like when I talk to someone and I take a picture of them and like, oh my god, that's such an amazing picture. It feels good. You like to not think of yourself having an ego, but that feels amazing. That's like saying your client telling you they love the photo and it's amazing. That's one of the best feelings you can get. And I know Carbon relates because me and Carbon, when we shot together at DreamHack, we'd pop the screen out and be like, "Look at this photo I just took. Oh, you think this is
We're like,
dope
look
too?
at this,
I
look at
think this
this.
is dope."
And we're
And
like,
we're like
we're
two
live
children
editing
fun.
on the fly too. We're just like, look at that. Nobody's doing that. So no, but also Cal got some good ones too as well. Cause like, and honestly,
Yeah.
also like big shout out to Cal because I've used Pixie Set. I started using Pixie Set because he delivered these photos through Pixie Set through to me. And I was like, ooh, this is fancy. I like this and everything, right? But like, like Cal captured those good moments too. It was fantastic moments and everything, right? I have them in like running in my background basically, and like in my like I have like a little like virtual like I don't know. I like to basically have like a little album on my fifth screen here, of basically like just like different homies works and everything, everyone's work and everything, and like albums and everything, and it's I see that basically like once every couple of hours and everything, right? Going through like an album, and I'm very kind of like heck yeah, I bet, right? And so yeah, Shawnee like and I we were like geeking out, and it's and I'm a shut man. This is great. I love this
Like
question.
two
This is a
kids
great
on
question,
Christmas
Frank.
when we were. It was
It's so cool, man.
It's such a cool experience to find something that you're passionate about and such a rewarding experience to allow others to be able to see like the work that you put forward and acknowledge the work that you put forward. And as a content creator, one of the most rewarding experiences is even just hitting that repost button, is just saying, I really enjoy the content that you're doing. And especially with smaller creators who may not be known, that is something that is one of the most rewarding things ever. So, in a little minor story, I almost quit streaming. I almost completely stopped streaming. And the reason why I almost stopped streaming is because I felt like I wasn't going to go anywhere and it really wasn't worth my time and there were other things that I could potentially have been doing. But it was somebody coming up to me and telling me, Perk, I really enjoy your content and I do watch your content. And it was somebody that I wouldn't expect. Somebody that I completely didn't expect. It was somebody who is very, very high up in the industry and has been around the industry for quite some time. And like to hear that from somebody, from one of my, I don't want to say idols because it's not an idol and I don't idolize fucking anybody. It's somebody who I respect and somebody who I view as a coworker at this point, but it's so fucking rewarding. It is a beautiful experience. It is a wonderful thing. And us content creators, photographers, everybody out here, to have somebody come out and take time out of their day to send one of those kind messages and kind words and spread positivity is such a huge thing. So ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you guys are following Shawnee, you're following Cal, you're following Carbon. Please make sure you hit them up on Twitter. If you are a content creator and you're watching this podcast, or you see it about a year and a half down the line, they're going to still be doing what they're doing. Their work's probably going to be $1,000 a session, though, so you better damn well get your pockets ready. But you know what? They're going to be there. They're going to be killing it in the scene. They're going to be doing everything that they possibly do. So a huge shout out to them. And thank you all so much for stopping by and dropping in and showing us behind the lens what real photography looks like, what real creativity and growth looks like. And remember this, ladies and gentlemen, there is always room for growth. There are many different avenues in the world of content creation, in the world of streaming, and you guys it's your own journey. So do with it what you want to do with it. Ladies and gentlemen, that was this episode of the PSP Podcast. Huge shout out to everybody. You guys have a wonderful night. Deuces, everybody.
Y'all take care. Appreciate it.
You still listening, gentlemen? That last few minutes might have been a little confusing. You'd like to know who I was talking to, wouldn't you? I'll tell you what she looks like.